thing, I flex on you boys, I do it again. They say whatever, and I don't just talking, you should score. I'm going in.
All right, NBA Finals have been over for exactly 8 days. The NBA Draft has been over for about 17 hours. So let's go. It is time to direct all of our attention to free agency. Enter Kevin Durant. He was sitting atop the list of free agent acquisitions before rupturing his Achilles tendon during the finals. So now it's a difficult decision, and it becomes even more difficult. Whatever KD decides, it'll no doubt have a domino effect across the entire league. Brian Windhorst takes us through how it all could shake out.
Kevin Durant's free agency was always expected to rock the NBA, just not in this way.
Ibaka trying to stay with Durant, knocks it away, and Durant's limping. And Durant grabbing that right leg.
After tearing his Achilles in that terrible moment in the finals, he's gone from an impactful free agent to one of the most mysterious ones the league has ever seen. His choice will set up a domino effect that will have ripple effects throughout the league. Will the Knicks take the gamble?
KD joining the Knicks, I think it would be great for the whole NBA and just basketball, period.
They've been on the hunt for a superstar game-changer as long as they can remember. Amari Stoudemire was damaged. Carmelo Anthony was a near miss. Kristaps Porzingis was a false start. Kyrie Irving may be headed elsewhere, and Anthony Davis is no longer an option. So letting young players like number 3 pick R.J. Barrett, Dennis Smith Jr., and Mitchell Robinson develop as Durant recovers may be a legit option, albeit a risky one.
His mindset is to be the domino. That makes every other domino fall.
Will the Clippers go for it? They have the flexibility to go in any direction. They have a terrific mix of gifted young players and polished veterans. They're going to take a swing at Kawhi Leonard. If they miss, they can move on to Durant and rely on their deep roster to compete as he recovers in warm Southern California. But with some maneuvers, they could perhaps sign both. Could it be the Nets? Brooklyn has been clearing cap space the last several weeks, making room for 2 big names. Irving appears to be lining up to be one, and they've been scheming to make Durant the other. Now, perhaps Irving holds down the fort with the Nets' other young pieces as they wait for Durant to return. With him already recovering in New York, it's a serious possibility.
This is going to be the craziest summer ever.
But what if KD just stays home with the Warriors? Golden State was bracing for losing Durant. Now they could turn a crisis into an opportunity. By offering a 5-year contract, the Warriors have the chance to show him support when he needs it most. Rehabbing alongside Klay Thompson, Durant could perhaps flip the script, to go from being seen as a mercenary to a selfless and devoted teammate, then returning to make another run. That sounds like a fairy tale. In the end, it's about selling a vision, the teams to Durant and Durant to the teams. If they're both right, they could be right big. If they're wrong, well, this would truly be a tragedy.
For more on Kevin Durant's future, Michael Wilbon is back with us here on SportsCenter. Michael, we just heard Brian Windhorst say it's about selling a vision for both KD and the teams that want him. When free agency starts, which team do you think will have the most attractive vision for Durant?
The Golden State Warriors. I mean, for one, you know what's attractive? $50 million plus more than other teams can offer him. So I would say that. Also, when you're talking about rehabbing a busted Achilles, Kevin, you're talking about wanting to have a medical staff. And I know the one at Golden State is fairly new, but they're still less new to Kevin Durant than any new team would be. And so he's going to have a staff he's worked with all year. He's going to be, and by the way, doing this rehab in this unbelievable new facility that he goes to work in every day. And he's going to be in a place that has fit him, that he decided to leave Oklahoma City for. And those resources and those teammates are still surrounding him. So I think the Warriors is still the most attractive option for Kevin Durant. The others may be attractive. There's always something that's in the novelty of it, the grass being greener. But greener than what's in San Francisco, I'm hard-pressed to believe it.
All right, let's talk about the other teams now. We're 9 days away from free agency. The Lakers want another star. The Rockets have some major questions with their stars. The Celtics lost out on Anthony Davis. The Knicks and Nets have cleared up a ton of cap space. That Warriors dynasty took a major hit with devastating injuries. Which team needs to get this offseason right?
Well, the Knicks. I mean, if we just go to bad teams and teams that have expectations and have had them every year for decades, it'll be the Knicks. And they have more money to spend. I mean, they've got in excess of $70 million plus to spend. So when you've got that, you know their expectations. You look at the drafting of R.J. Barrett, who, by the way, he's a wonderful kid. He seems like he is well suited to be a rookie in that demanding environment. but he's not going to carry the Knicks to anything. So I'd say the Knicks. I mean, the Nets are going to be right up there. There's some teams with the Clippers that have some cushion because they won 48 games last year. They'd be adding something to a substantive team. But start with the New York Knicks.
The league never sleeps. Free agency negotiations start Sunday, June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Michael Wilbon, thank you.
To the NFL, Saints receiver Michael Thomas still looking for a new contract. About a month to go before training camp begins. He's hoping to become the highest paid receiver in the NFL, which would mean an average of about $20 million per year. This season, Thomas slated to make $1.3 million. That's all, despite being one of the elite receivers in the NFL. Michael Thomas, one of 50 players who could get extensions by the start of training camp next month. Check out that article right now. I demand you to do so. Dan Graziano currently having that posted on ESPN.com. And look who's back. Dan is here live and in person. Okay, Michael Thomas trying to become the highest paid receiver, but several big-name receivers are hoping to get paid this offseason, right? Between now and, I guess, next month when camps begin, who has the best shot, I guess?
Well, I think Michael Thomas has a very strong shot, right? I mean, he's caught more passes in his first 3 years than anyone ever has. So he's got the case to be making, obviously, a lot more than he is. Julio Jones in Atlanta is another guy that obviously wants to be the highest paid. He's got 2 years left on his deal. A.J. Green in Cincinnati, 1 year left on his deal. He's missed some time with injury, so I don't know about his case relative to these others. And then, of course, Amari Cooper in Dallas. So all four of these guys looking for big deals. I think they're waiting to see who goes first.
How about Dak Prescott? He just saw Carson Wentz get $108 million guaranteed from Philly. Where's his negotiations?
I think that's the deal they were kind of waiting for, both sides. I mean, talking to people associated with this deal, when the Wentz deal came in, the Cowboys really kind of, their front office got hold of it and studied it, trying to see how they could apply it to this situation. So now that that's done, I think they're in a position to negotiate with Dak Prescott, who's making $2 million this year, final year of his rookie contract.
Crazy.
A little bit light for a starting quarterback.
I think so. Tom Brady, $15 million left on his current deal. Dan will be 42 in August. What kind of deal could he get?
42 seems young to me, but for a quarterback, historically less so. Look, I think, is it going to be something like Ben Roethlisberger just did with the Steelers, where it's $34 million a year? That would be surprising given Brady's recent contract history with the Patriots, where he hasn't really demanded to be paid at the top of the market, instead saying he'll take a little less so they can put the team together around him. I would expect an extension, but probably not a record breaker. Even though if he went and said, I want to be the highest paid, they wouldn't really have much of an argument.
Exactly. They'd probably do it. To Houston, linebacker Jadeveon Clowney has yet to sign that tender, Dan, for $16 million. What are the chances he pulls a Le'Veon Bell and sits out?
I don't get the sense that that's his plan. You can't rule it out, though. I mean, this guy's already made $35 million in the league. This isn't like Dak Prescott or Michael Thomas who are looking for their first big payday. This guy was the #1 pick in the draft. He's made his money. I don't know that they're going to get a long-term deal signed before July 15th, which is the deadline for franchise players. So if they don't, that's when the focus turns to this situation. Will he sit out training camp? Will he sit out part of training camp? Will he report for week 1 of the regular season? So those are decisions he has to make. I'm not all the way sure that he's made them yet, but he's in a position to do the Le'Veon Bell thing if he wants.
Yeah, a huge key, obviously, to that Texans defense. 26 days and counting. I know he's counting until training camp begins. That would be the Broncos, the first ones to report. So go, golf. Get out of here. Something before camp begins. Thank you, Dan.
And Michigan is...
All right, tonight, the machine makes his return to St. Louis. Albert Pujols, for the first time, it's been 8 years since he's been able to go by the numbers on his impact there, starting with his 2,073 hits, 4th most in franchise history. That's a lot. Also, the power element of Pujols' game was on full display with the Cardinals. His 445 home runs, 2nd in franchise history. He also had 18 home runs in the postseason. That, too, a franchise record. Pujols took home 3 MVP awards with St. Louis, too. Had to stand the man musical for the most in franchise history. You heard a lot of that with Albert Pujols, huh? No other Cardinal has one more. Kevin?
Sage Doug Glanville joins us now. Pujols highlights the night of returns. Aaron Judge returning, and it's curious that Aaron Boone making a change. He's going to bat leadoff for the first time in his career against the Astros. What are the benefits when you have a guy like this batting leadoff tonight?
Well, I mean, you start off in the danger zone. I mean, the fact is he's a power hitter, and the game culturally is so much more about having these 3 outcomes, right? The home run, the strikeout, and the walk. Well, he's the king of all 3. Rookie year, 52 home runs, set a record, 127 walks 2 years ago, and actually struck out over 200 times. So he's a threat right out of the gate. You can't make any mistakes. And he gets on base over, he's a 400 on base percentage the last couple of years. So, he's going to get on base and he can hit the home run.
6'7" Judge will be the tallest player to lead off in 50 years in the big leagues. Meanwhile, tonight, another return, the debut of Dallas Keuchel for the Braves. Signed a free agent deal, of course, earlier this month. When you look at the matchup here, and that is long-term in the NL East, will he be the difference maker for the Braves when they battle the Phillies here?
Yeah, he's a difference maker without a doubt. I mean, Cy Young Award winner. He understands how to pitch. Now, he's been off and he's been sitting out. But what he does is he gives much more depth to that Braves rotation. And when you look at their competitor, the Phillies, who are right behind them, they've been neck and neck in most categories throughout baseball, whether on-base percentage, defense, they're all in the same category. But then now, the last week, been a separation, and Keuchel's now that exclamation point.
Oh yeah, the Phillies are reeling right now. The last 4 weeks have been absolutely horrendous for this team as they try to recover from the injury of Andrew McCutchen. We'll see Keuchel and the Braves up against the Nationals tonight. Doug, thank you.
All right, Kev.
Commodores outfielder J.J. Bleday batting second tonight in the game against Louisville. Coming up next here on ESPN. He's had a good couple of weeks. The 4th overall pick by the Miami Marlins. Just last week, J.J. Bleday and the Commodores taking on the Cardinals tonight. ESPN, in what? I don't know, 9 minutes now? Who's counting?
Difficult, very difficult. I'd be surprised if they made the playoffs this first year.
Not alone there, for sure. And one man cannot save an organization. And speaking of that, after drafting Zion last night, I'm sure you saw what David Griffin said, the Pelicans GM. He said they're not trying to bring him to New Orleans to be the savior of this franchise, and that he's going to spend his first year learning how to play NBA basketball, and that's a big difference from playing in college. The pressure, though, Michael, will still be there. How should everybody, including Zion, handle that kind of pressure?
Well, I don't think the pressure is going to be nearly as great as, say, R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett has pressure because there are wild expectations surrounding the New York Knicks for decades, every year, usually unmet. And so he's stepping into that, where people, just listening to the talk on our own network this morning from some of my dear friends and yours who are from New York and spend time there. And it's like, what are you guys thinking? The pressure in New Orleans, that's a Drew Brees and a Saints town, Sage.
Yeah.
It's a football town first. They're still getting accustomed to just having basketball and paying attention. So the pressure might be greater on Zion outside of New Orleans. But in and where he's playing every day, with somebody who's wise and going to tamp down expectations, or at least try to, like David Griffin, yes, there will be pressure. Will there be the kind of pressure that is on his Duke teammate, R.J. Barrett? I don't think there's any chance in the world the two situations will be comparable.
Yeah, that is a great point, but I know that they would love to eventually have that pressure because that means they're relevant. That means they're good.
3 years. How about 3 years from now they'll have that kind of pressure?
Although you saw what Coach K said. He says Zion could be an all-star in his rookie season. We shall see. Wilbon, stay there. Back later to talk some free agency. Okay, I want to make sure that you're very clear on what July 5th means. The countdown is on, Kevin. 9:30 Eastern time. It's on ESPN. It is Zion and R.J. Barrett, the Duke teammates, facing off in Summer League in Las Vegas, Nevada, as the Pelicans and the Knicks face off for the first time with these two starring. Can't wait.
Breaking news from the NFL. The Giants have agreed to trade Odell Beckham Jr. to the Browns.
If you're a Cleveland Brown fan, it's time to be excited right now.
Odell makes a catch heading to the end zone for a touchdown.
Odell Beckham Jr. reunites with Jarvis Landry, his former LSU college teammate.
This team is dangerous.
It's that quiet time in the NFL where vacation or appearances fill up the schedule before training camp. New Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. went across the pond to London to help kick off tryouts for a new NFL academy in England. He talked to Complex Sports, and they asked if the trade to Cleveland would help fulfill his potential. And here's what he said, quote, "I just felt with the Giants, I was just stuck at a place that wasn't working for me anymore. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to reach my full potential there, mentally, physically, spiritually, everything I felt capable of doing. I just couldn't see it happening there. I'm just excited about being able to play football again and not have to deal with all the other stuff and politics that came with my previous role." NFL insider Dan Graziano joining us. So a superstar suggests the Browns are a better team for him to reach his full potential over the Giants. So when you look at this, what does Cleveland have to help maximize Odell's talent?
Well, I think when you look at that comment, you try to parse what he's saying. This is a guy who's had a lot of individual achievement in his career. He has not done much winning. The Giants went to the playoffs once while he was there and lost the first game. So I think right now Cleveland is viewed by outsiders, insiders, players as a team that's on the cusp of doing some winning. And I don't think the Giants feel to that same group of people like that kind of team right now. We really are kind of through the looking glass in terms of NFL history, right? The Giants are seen as the team that can't win, and the Browns are seen as the hot ones.
It is wild.
But I think that's probably, and again, without talking directly to him, I think, you look at that and say this is what's been missing from his career, is team success. And when you've had issues where Odell Beckham has lost his temper off the field, punched a hole in the wall in Green Bay, fought with a kicking net, it's usually been because of losing. And that's frustrated him, and he's been clear that that frustrates him. So all the 1,000-yard seasons and the double-digit touchdown seasons, I think he'd really like to be a part of something that's a winner, and in New York, he didn't get it.
And the highlight reels of the one-handed catches and the grabs across the middle. All right, now he also has to stay healthy. That's a big storyline. In 5 seasons, Beckham has played only one full 16-game schedule.
Yeah, we'll see.
And last night, when he was selected 3rd overall, with great power comes great responsibility. Wait a second. That's a line from Spider-Man. The expectations can't be that high in the Big Apple, can it?
RJ, do you have big enough shoulders to carry this franchise?
We'll
get to it.
That's funny. Carry. I wouldn't say carry. I'd say there's going to be a great group of guys that are going to be together. And, we're all excited to play for Coach Fizdale. And this is the biggest stage. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to play. But, I haven't even played a game yet. So how are you going to ask me a question like that?
Welcome to New York.
All that remains to be seen, right? And I'm glad he handled that beautifully.
Nailed it.
But let's slow down for a moment, if we could, and reflect on last night, because even though RJ, Zion, and many others knew that they were going to be lottery picks, their raw emotion after hearing their names and walking across that stage, it spoke to how much it means to them. And you and I were taken aback by that emotion. It was beautiful.
It was cool. Young men realizing their dreams due to the sacrifices made by their families. Mark Schwartz has much more on the emotional roller coaster last night for the NBA's next generation of stars.
We've seen Zion dominate, and we've seen him fly. But it was not until his dream came true that we'd ever seen Zion cry.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
Williamson knew he would be #1 for months, but sharing the moment with his mom, whom he calls his toughest coach ever, revealed a side of Zion none of us had ever witnessed.
She put her dreams aside for mine.
When the Knicks chose R.J. Barrett 3rd, he needed his dad's shoulder because of a prediction his grandfather made.
That was one of the reasons why I was crying, because, we used to watch the Knicks growing up, and he'd always tell me that I was going to be a Knick. And, it's sad that he can't be here to see it, but I'm just very happy, man.
For some, the tears were for loved ones who could only be there in spirit. Future Sixer Matisse Thybulle talked about how his late mom Elizabeth was his inspiration.
I wish she was here to see it. The way she fought for everything, even until the end when she was getting sick.
#4 pick DeAndre Hunter wore his heart on a string.
Yeah, it's a picture of me and my dad when I was a baby. I was about 8 months maybe. And my dad passed away when I was in 1st grade, so I just want him to be here with me. I want him to get drafted with me, and he's seeing everything I'm seeing right now, so he's right here with me.
Kobe White said everything he does on and off the court is for his late father.
I'm excited, but it's also hard for me because I would give anything to have him here with me tonight, and let him see me watch across the stage. But I just got to enjoy the moment.
Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett are projected to be superstars. But draft night was not about wingspan or shoe deals. It was about gratitude. And it was powerful.
Mark, thank you so much. And it won't take long for Zion and RJ to be on opposite sides. 2019 NBA Summer League schedule in Vegas released opening day, July 5th. Zion and the Pelicans will take on Bear the Knicks. That game at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. Sage?
Afternoon baseball.